Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Tamara, and today I'm going to be talking to you about extrovert and introvert confusion and how it relates to quality time, because I think this is a topic that causes a lot of issues and maybe even the most confusion in type. I think being an introvert is considered a really popular thing in this day and age. But the fact is, 75% of people are actually extroverted. And because I've been doing this for so long, and I think people who understand Myers-Briggs personality types, which there are a lot of you out there, you kind of know what each type looks like. So even if someone says that they're extrovert or they're introvert, they usually fit one type, and the extrovert or introvert changes an entire type. So even though people are trying to break down each individual letter, it just helps to give you clues as to what your Myers-Briggs personality type actually is, but it doesn't really determine it, because a lot of people who feel like they're extroverts, they may be an introverted type. And a lot of people who feel like they're introverted, they may actually be an extroverted type. So sometimes people get very attached to a type that they're not. I personally have learned that it's best not to argue with people. If they want to be a certain type, then you kind of let them be, because it's not worth the argument, it's not worth the stress, and people get intensely upset when they have attached themselves to a type and you try to take it away from them. It's the most intriguing and fascinating thing. So for me, I'm just happy that they're into it, that they like it, that they find Myers-Briggs interesting. And even if they're the wrong type, it gives them an identity or something to hold on to. And there's something that they find in that type that's intriguing or fascinating. But I think one of the number one reasons why people get introvert and extroverted types confused is because of the love language quality time. And I've done several videos on the love languages because I think that that really helps people in relationships to understand each other, and it cuts down on a lot of confusion. But one of the love languages is quality time. And people who are quality time, they feel loved when they are around people that they care about. When their friends spend time with them, they're going to thank them. They're going to be so grateful. They get energized. They feel better. They feel cared about. And people who don't like quality time, they're going to feel drained by too much quality time. It's not going to do a lot for them. Yes, they may enjoy an occasional quality time with people that they really like and their friends. It doesn't mean that they don't want to ever do anything quality time. It's just they don't want it constantly. So most people would make the mistake of assuming that introverts are not quality time people and that extroverts are quality time people, because extroverts get energy from being around people and introverts get energy from being alone and having quiet time to rejuvenate. But that's just simply not the case. There are a lot of introverts who love quality time. They love spending time around people. They get energized. It makes them feel very cared about, very loved. And there are a lot of extroverts who hate quality time, or it just doesn't do a lot for them. So being around people all the time, they find it very draining and stressful, and it just does not make them feel loved. And it doesn't mean that they don't get energy from being around people, because a lot of times they do, but they may not enjoy quality time. Doesn't make them feel loved. They might like gifts, or they might like words of affirmation or physical touch, those things may make them feel cared about, not necessarily quality time. So I think the extrovert introvert component of Myers-Briggs is actually the most confusing piece, because people will attach to a type based on that and get their entire type incorrect simply based on whether or not they enjoy quality time. And I can say for myself, I'm an ENFJ, and I definitely feel energized when I'm around people. Sometimes I can get goofy and silly and playful, but I am not quality time. That's at the bottom of my list. And I think that definitely bothers some people, because it seems like a lot of people love quality time. And it's not that I never like it, it's just that's not what makes me feel loved or cared about. I feel drained with too much quality time. I feel like it's too much. I have to recharge like an introvert. So I need a lot of quiet time, time to myself to feel better, to rejuvenate. So I'm sure there are people out there who are much better than me at understanding this introvert extrovert phenomenon, and who can explain it a heck of a lot better than me. And if you can, then I'd love to hear your explanation below on that, because I know I'm an extroverted Myers-Briggs personality type, but the way I rejuvenate is more like an introvert. But I do tend to get energized from being around people, even when I dread it. Once I'm there, then I do tend to bounce off of people. And I've seen this, like, for example, Emeril Lagasse, the chef. One thing that I've noticed about him is when he's by himself, he's very, like when he's filming alone, he would be very introverted. But you put him in front of an audience and he gets very energized. His thoughts come quickly. He's speaking very fast. He knows what he's going to say as he's saying it. He doesn't have to stop and think before he says things, which is also a clue to whether or not someone is introvert or extroverted. So I've seen plenty of people who claim to be introverts because they don't like quality time, but you put them in front of an audience of people and they are quick, really quick on their feet, and they are able to answer questions very quickly. So it's just a very intriguing thing. So I want you to listen to this clip and see what you think.
I, of course, went on the Google deep dive of your wife, and there's so little to be found. Other than that, she's a phenomenal writer and lovely person.
She's a great poet, and she's been writing under a pseudonym for a long time. She's very private, but this is the most public she's been, and like it's going to be her sort of coming out.
Yeah,
of being,
I hope she'll come to the show. I know she's an introvert, but I'm pretty introverted myself.
Are you really?
Yeah, it's weird. I hate if I don't.
But not on the airways.
No, I can do this, and I can control my own. I can put myself up on video. I have to control all of it. Otherwise, I don't want to be a part of any of it.
Jen's the same way. Yeah. Jen, I have this joke in the book actually where I say Jen's an introvert, and I'm an introvert, and I'm an extrovert. An extrovert is someone who gets energy from being around other people, and an introvert doesn't like you. Or she might like you, but she's going to need me to explain why we're leaving the party. Which, by the way, is my role in our marriage.
Fair enough.
I just have to fucking make it be like, we have a cat, and then we just leave.
Right.
And
That's
I always look like a dick. It's like not fair.
It's a fair price to pay to get her in the end.
To be with a beautiful introvert.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to play for you a real conversation about introvert and extroversion. And what's interesting about the clip is that the female host is saying that she is very introverted, and he's like, well, basically you seem like an extrovert on the air. And she's like, yeah, but I'm really introverted. And that particular lady does not like quality time at all. She's a homebody, but I happen to think that she's very much an extroverted Myers-Briggs personality type. It's just that quality time piece that gets in the way and makes people think that they are introverted when actually they're getting energy from people. They just simply don't necessarily want quality time, which means that you enjoy spending a ton of time with people and that's how you feel loved. That's not how she feels loved. And I thought it was kind of funny how the guy was talking about his wife and how he always has to be the bad guy and he has to make up an excuse for why they have to leave. Now, I do think his wife probably is an introvert who does not like quality time. So those two things go together perfectly for her. Another thing that I thought was funny was that he said, oh yeah, introverts don't like people. And that is why a lot of extroverted people feel like they are introverts, because they quote unquote don't like people, but you put them in a social situation and they're bouncing from one person to the other, still claiming that they are introverted while they're getting energy from interacting with people. So I think people think that introverts don't like people, and that is not true. I think a lot of introverts want more friends because, so that doesn't determine whether or not you're an introvert or an extrovert, whether or not you like people or not. And sometimes people's reasoning for not liking people is, oh, well, they get on my nerves, or I have trouble sometimes interacting with people, or I have a hot temper, or people rub me the wrong way. So it has really, it doesn't have anything to do with being an introvert or an extrovert. I think another reason why a factor that plays into introversion and extroversion, and you can check out my video on birth order, because a lot of people who are only children think that they're introverts because they had a lot more time alone. They didn't have a playmate, so they're used to interacting alone and getting to do their own thing and rejuvenate without someone being in their space. That can make someone feel more introverted even though they have a more extroverted type. Also, if you grew up in an introverted home like I did, then you get used to being able to have your own thoughts, to have room to use your imagination and to play by yourself and to have quiet time where, everybody's not just grabbing at you. But I definitely know introverted households where they love quality time, and so they're constantly like doing activities with their kids, or always there, or we're going to play games together. We're going to do all of this interacting when they're actually a more introverted type. So it's just very fascinating. I've seen a couple of videos out there that definitely explain how, the nuances of extrovert and introvert, and how there are some things that need to be tweaked. So you can check those people's videos out as well. So anyway, thank you so much for watching my video. If you have any ideas of videos that you'd like me to make, comment below and I may just do it. So be sure to share this video with people that you think it would enlighten and help to understand themselves better. Be sure to like the video and hit the subscribe button. Until next time,